Welcome to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash
When I say I'm delicate, I don't mean like a flower. I mean like a bomb.
and Dale Hummel.
Dream big, act now.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ryan, I've been dealing with a virus of some sort on my computer. I reached out to Clifton earlier. I'm getting pop-ups on the entire right side of my screen. I close them. It takes me to a Tetris game.
There you go.
No, I don't. I hope we can get through the recording, but it's not good. It's kind of like the government shutdown. I think the computer is shutting down and it may never reopen.
I don't know what to tell you about all that. I also don't know what to tell you about the government shutdown because I don't think it's ever going to end. I think they're just going to stay like that.
Have you heard anything recently that may indicate it's over?
No.
I've heard very little. I did not understand the filibuster very well, or the nuclear option I keep hearing about. Are you familiar with either of those?
I mean, I know what a filibuster is and all that, but I don't know how they're going to use it to make this work.
My understanding, and I could be very wrong, that the Democrats are using the filibuster to block the temporary vote to leave the government open. I think that's happened 12 times now. And basically what it does, it delays the process, and they have to have 60 votes to overcome that. However, I believe there's an end in sight. Trump is recommending the nuclear option. In my understanding of such, it's a parliamentarian loophole, basically, where they can, with 51 votes, eliminate the filibuster, and then everything goes back to a simple majority. So if the Republicans choose to use that, and all of the Republicans stay on board, and I don't know that they would, they could end the filibuster. And there's always the concern that if the Republicans use it, oh no, the Democrats, if they ever get majority, they're going to use it later and we won't be able to cooperate on anything. Are we not at the point we're not cooperating at all anyway?
I don't know if anybody's cooperating with anybody. If they get it back to 51, there's 53 Republican senators, and Fetterman is on board. Like, he has come out and said that Democrats need to own their idiocy, that they're trying to keep the government shut down, and it needs to be reopened up. I saw that this morning. So Fetterman is clearly on board with the Republicans in this instance. So if they can get it back to 51, it should not be an issue.
They can, and I just pulled this up here. All they have to do is do what they call the nuclear option, and the Senate basically eliminates the filibuster. It's gone. And
I don't know why we didn't do this 12 votes ago.
Because they're worried that if the Democrats ever gain majority in the Senate, that they will then use the same thing. But you go back to 2013, the Democrats used this nuclear option to get most of Obama's judicial confirmations. And then the Republicans, it looks like, used it in 2017 for one of the Supreme Court justices. So it's been used, and we're at a point that there is no getting along. It seems insane. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you think that if we don't do this and the Democrats get the majority of the Senate, that they won't use this because the Republicans didn't? No.
Yeah,
that's being very naive.
I mean, of course, I am not in the grocery stores or whatever, but like, if all these crazy ass people that I see on Twitter /X, whatever the hell you want to call it, really gonna rob grocery stores because they don't have no SNAP benefits now, this is gonna be a mess. So
it is. And I think they ended November 1st, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we're recording on a Monday. So what is today? The 2nd, 3rd, somewhere
Third.
in there. So we're officially into it. And by the time this drops, we'll know more about it. The USDA basically is blaming the Democrats, and there are federal judges now ruling that they have to allow contingency payments, basically for the food stamps. It looks like a legal mess.
Yeah.
And I feel for those that truly need it. Do I think there's waste in all of this? Sure. But there are people out there that do need it.
No, the most interesting thing about all this to me is I had no idea that 42 million people relied on food, or maybe not rely on them, but take advantage,
are receiving them.
are receiving the food stamps nonsense. Like,
And you know, there's waste
that's
there and corruption.
insane.
There's a lot. I wish I knew what the real number was. I listened.
I would like to know what the real number of people that actually need it instead of
And
the 42 million that are getting it. But
I listened to Elon yesterday on Joe Rogan, and he talked about some of these scam issues and just how he could not believe how bad, how broken the system is, and that in the Social Security Department, there are people 300 years old that are eligible for benefits. There are people that haven't been born yet that they won't declare dead or not real. And if they would simply do that, it takes away all the other programs. It sounds like student loans, everything federally subsidized checks with Social Security to determine if that person's real. And that system is so broken and they're not willing to change it. It's a mess. He believes we could take government spending, cut it in half, and do a better job than what we're doing now with just a little bit of management. And I believe that.
no, I don't doubt it.
There's that much corruption and scam in there, and it's on both sides of the aisle, but it appeared to be 80 to 90% on the Democrat side, approximately 10% on the Republican side, as far as where they're feeding these dollars and where they're coming back, circling back around into campaign funds and basically just corruption. It's a mess, absolute mess.
So last week, you told me that you were fine with the communists winning New York City because it was going to be for the greater good of everything. And then I sent you something. See, I disagreed. I do not think this is something that needs to happen. I think this is scary. And so now there is the same situation in Seattle. So what you got to say now? Now we're going to...
Well, you know what? You know what I think of Seattle, New York, Chicago, most of the big dumb cities. I can eliminate. I'm okay if they don't exist, and if they have a communist running such, as long as we have control of the federal government on the conservative side, and they don't get bailed out like they have for decades, those cities will become a mess. I mean, even worse than what they are. And I'm still okay using them as an example. Like, do you want the rest of the country to end up like what this is going to be? I don't know how else to get the message across to people to get them to understand how bad, how impossible it is. What was your mayor in New York running on? Basically free everything, free healthcare, free childcare, free buses, free. I have no idea where he thinks this money's going to come from.
I have never been so bothered about an election that means, will not affect me in any way, shape, form at all.
I don't think short term, but you might be right. Long term, I don't know what I'm hoping and presuming it becomes the poster child for a disaster.
I mean,
but I could be wrong.
This bothers me to my core. I mean, it literally has just worn me out.
Does it not open your eyes to the ignorance in those that are voting in those cities?
I can't believe that this many people are going to vote. He's going to win easy. It's not even going to be close. Like it's not.
Are they not voting for their self-preservation? Basically,
I just cannot believe that somebody in any city, or any country, can sit there and just listen to this man talk about all this radical, crazy shit he's going to do with no plan on how to do it, and be like, "Yep, I'm voting for you, dude."
If he convinces the unintelligent that they don't have to pay for anything and they're not stepping up and trying to understand that this does not work, that's how it happens. Convince the masses that are going to put no effort into it. They hear free this, free that, and they vote for him. That's all it can be. It's almost as simple. Remember back when we had the open border for Biden and when it first started, we're saying, well, why would we do it? Some people speculated, well, we're going to eventually make the shift to all these incoming voting for Democrats, and there will no longer be elections because it'll be a one-party system if all of these basic illegals were able to vote. It's that simple. He opened the borders. He shipped them to the states and the areas that they needed, the swing states, to capture. This is very simple. Also, tell everybody they're going to get everything for free, get their vote, and he wins.
He's going to win. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, I thought Cuomo was making up ground, but it's not near enough, is it?
Oh, I don't. So, no.
And I'm not a fan of Cuomo either, by the way.
I'm not either, but he's way better than this other.
Yes, if I had to have one of the two running our country, not just New York, it's easy. I go to Cuomo, but I mean, I'm not a fan there either.
Speaking of people running the country, so I know you don't watch CNN, but
ever,
right? So they are shook to their core because this time, in all the other previous times or whatever, that there has been a Democratic candidate for president well over 25%. Like Al Gore was, Hillary was, Biden was, all this other stuff. Right now, at this very same time in the year for the next presidential election, there is not one Democratic candidate that is polling over 25%. And they are losing their minds.
I thought there was some hope for New Jersey and a few other states they've really focused on, but I have not followed it close enough.
They're losing their minds. There's not one person. So they're like Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, none of them are polling over 25%, and they are losing their minds. So
who are they putting those up against? Who are they throwing out from the Republican side?
No, this is just in the Democratic Party. There's not one candidate that is polling over 25%. That's horrible.
It's not very positive. No,
it's not good. That means they don't like any of them.
So is your California boyfriend the highest, or who is?
Yes, and the latest, him and Pete Buttigieg are very tight, very close.
Literally.
Mm-hmm. Well, like 22 and 21%.
Okay. Oh my! I mean, there is something that could change all of this, and we don't have to worry about it.
What?
3i Atlas.
What does that?
The comet
the next presidential candidate, the next president.
Oh, it could end the world as we know it.
Oh,
you wouldn't have to worry about a presidential candidate.
Go.
So for those that haven't been following the 3i Atlas, I have, and I'm still up in the air on what it is. I would lean towards it being a comet or asteroid of some sort, but we do have.
You said it can't be a comet or an asteroid. It's man-made.
It can be, but it's the likelihood. So right now, the Harvard study on it is still, I believe, at 40%. So they're talking about non-gravitational acceleration. That is hard to explain. A nickel-rich gas that's being emitted from it is challenging to explain. Elon came on Joe Rogan. I told you that earlier, and I really enjoyed that. I still like Elon, by the way, a great deal. I think everybody says, well, no, he's not brilliant. He has brilliant people under him. Well, he's brilliant in the fact that he brings the right people on board, and he's juggling a lot of things that I don't think many could. There's obviously some brain power there. He talked about an unusual path near Jupiter, Venus, and Mars that screams alien. He is still probably leaning towards the comet side, and he made a comment to Joe that if he ever had any evidence that aliens existed, he would come on Joe Rogan's show and disclose that. I would have thought at this point, if they did exist or we had any evidence of it, he would have access to such. He is either lying or he is unaware of any hard evidence. When I look at the fact that orb that we fired a Hellfire missile at and it bounced off, and this is documented and it's been brought up in the U.S. Congress and identified that it did happen, there is very few other explanations. So it's amazing to me that there's not more attention being brought to this. And maybe that technology exists on our planet from an adversary or our own, but I doubt we're going to shoot a missile at our own orb. The fact that this is happening, does it not seem odd, Ryan, that we always worried about don't disclose that there's aliens out there because of world panic? What if we slowly brought this into play as we're seeing right now to better prepare people to accept, hey, there are aliens out there. Let's hope they're friendly. Otherwise, they probably would have destroyed us already. There's a lot of theories out there that I could attach to and make a solid case for. The 3i Atlas, I still lean towards the comet, but it's very, very unusual. And it's getting serious attention from NASA and other science-based organizations around the world to at least continue to pay attention to what's going on. Is it a comet or a spaceship, Ryan?
I have to go back to one other thing that you said during all this. You said that Elon said that if he had proof of aliens, then he would go on Joe Rogan and expose it. You also sent me two things last week that saying Elon was an alien.
And he could be, but I do not agree with that theory. I believe that was
then why do you send this shit?
That was Candace Owens. Because I have been following her on the Charlie Kirk.
She's lost her mind.
Yes, I'm afraid she was so close to Charlie that is impacting things. But I cannot argue the fact there are many questions that need to be answered. I'm not saying she's dead on track on any of it. I don't know. I haven't researched it enough. And I think because she was that close to him, she's not functioning at 100% necessarily, or likely to go down a path that maybe you wouldn't if you weren't connected to such. So I don't know where she's at. I think she's a very intelligent person. And I do think there's a lot of Charlie Kirk questions that need answered. There are too many to just push away and say there's nothing to it. I have no idea without diving into it full time and researching it day and night. But there are people out there doing that. It's just which ones do you trust?
I don't know. I think I used to think that Candace Owens was a reasonably intelligent, well-spoken, articulate type of person. And I'm telling you, right now, I think she is rubber room in a jacket that hugs herself crazy. That's what I think.
I would agree. Some of the short clips I see on social media, I assume they are real and they are her, but guess what? They could be AI generated. So I don't know. With AI taking over the social media, I cannot wrap my head around what's real and what's not without diving into it very, very deep. And there's just not enough time to do that.
And yet you love Grok. I think it's great. I
do use AI to answer questions. I've discussed the Candace Owen thing with Grok.
Uh-huh.
So. I'm good. I'm good with AI, but it's going to change the world. Elon came out and said there won't be you will not need your two cell phones. There will not be cell phones in 5 to 6 years.
What the hell? What's going to be?
He tried to explain it's going to be all AI interface, and they will know what you need. Apps won't necessarily exist as we know it. If you go and click on your Facebook or your Instagram, I believe that this interface will still allow you to call. I would still call it a phone. You have to have something for the interface to interact with, but he is not calling it a cell phone as we know it today.
Okay.
That one I thought was out there, but he's given 5 to 6 years on it. I mean, the change that's happening right now with AI is unbelievable.
There you go. Well, I have one other current event that I hope you're sitting down and you have some tissues because it's going to be very sad for you. They think, rumor is that on Wednesday or Thursday, Nancy Pelosi will announce that she is not running for re-election.
I did not hear that. You got that on CNN, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Actually, MSNBC, but yes.
Oh my, that is,
that she's gonna wait till after the election, but then she is announcing that she will not run again in 2026. And I know that you're just the most crushed.
How old is that crazy old bat?
Old.
Yeah, very. That would be a Grok question.
I mean, old. That's all. I don't know. Guess I can look, but yeah, 85.
It's pretty old.
So, anyway, I knew that you would be the most upset.
And I think she's held it together. I think she was crazy from the beginning, so you can't tell if you just tuned into her the last few years if the crazy is coming from her age or if she was always that way. I think she's held on better than most, but just watching her the past 5 years, let's say, no question she's gone backwards. She
gets very angry these days. She yells a lot at reporters and other people. So
I think it's time. I think at least she's using some common sense and stepping aside before it gets more embarrassing.
We'll see.
Well, excellent. Are you ready for the main topic?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to talk about ShowFresh H2O. I'd like to remind the stock show community that hydration is the most important factor you can control in the final 48 hours before hitting the ring. Why take a chance on getting show stock to drink when ShowFresh H2O may solve this issue at a low cost? Look at it as an insurance policy that has the lowest premium and greatest return in history. You can pick up ShowFresh H2O at your favorite show supply trailer or farm store. Orders can also be placed at swampfox.com. I would like to extend a huge thank you to ShowFresh H2O for their continued support of the junior livestock industry. Time for the main topic. Picture perfect. I thought we'd done it before. I
Nope.
apologize. I think we've discussed it maybe, but never just dove right
We
into it.
did a whole episode on backdrop pictures, which are my least favorite thing in the world. And I think I am going to, when Trump gets done with midterms, I'm going to call him and tell him that he needs to sign an executive order that livestock judges, or just me in general, does not have to participate in backdrop pictures ever again, because I love them. But we did do an episode on backdrop pictures, and we'll briefly discuss that a little bit. But this is more about pictures in general in the livestock world.
Excellent. And guess what? Do you think AI will come into play here?
I'm sure.
It already is, I'm sure. I am not very tech savvy, but I guarantee you with what can be done, and I understand where we were years ago and where we are now, and you're going to see more and more photo editing that is more difficult to determine if it's real, if it's not real. But I think at this point, and I want to let Ryan go the path he wants to go, you probably need to do more than just see a picture. If we're talking about online sales and we talk about picture perfect, those pictures obviously can be enhanced to look almost like anything you want. Ryan, think about that. Some of the images that I create through ChatGPT for the Beyond the Ring Facebook page.
Yeah.
The last one was that really fat goat.
And somebody actually thought that was the real animal.
Yeah, we did not. Did you ever have any intent to try to make people believe that was real?
No.
That was not my intent either. And I don't think it looks by any means real. But I guarantee you that I could just give a command to some of these AI programs and have them develop something, and you tell them to continue tweaking it. I haven't tried, but maybe I'll do that for the graphic this week, is try to create something that looks absolutely real, that didn't even start with any animal. No real photo.
I bet this won't be hard. And
I think if you were to put a photo into ChatGPT and then tell it to start altering certain parts of it, it'd probably take less time yet.
Right.
So I guess what I'm trying to get across is, wow, just be cautious and put some thought into what you're doing there. Obviously that there are going to be a lot of variations when you see different photos, whether it's on social media, whether it's on a sales site, whether it's at a backdrop. Put some common sense in it and realize that these can be altered and probably done with technology now well enough that you cannot tell that anything's been done to it. Is that the general direction we're going?
Yes, that is the general direction. And just, we're not going to talk about like this a lot, but I do want to say, just as a general note, because this frustrates me. When you are at shows and these livestock photographers, this is like the whole fitter situation. None of these people just showed up one day and decided they were going to be a livestock photographer. They all were part of this, did this, they have a talent for it, and so they go to these shows. Sometimes they don't even get paid other than you buying the picture, and they go to these shows and they take all these shots of your kids in the ring, at the backdrops, all this other stuff. And first off, y'all are just horrible to them. Really, I mean, I am appalled at the way that people treat photographers at the backdrop. And because I do judge a lot of shows, I stand in a lot of backdrop pictures, and maybe I see it and hear it more than anyone else. And you people are appalling. I'm not going to lie. The way y'all act.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Every backdrop that we get into or that I'm in, I am shocked. I'll watch the people ahead or maybe behind us that are taking pictures, and that's my exposure to it. And the patience and the help that those photographers are oftentimes implementing goes beyond. I compliment them every time that is.
Oh,
I tell them,
every time I leave
I don't know how you,
I don't know
I don't know how you
do
can do it. Yeah, that's my exact words to them, and I see the same things that you're seeing. I cannot believe they're that patient. I'm trying to take goat prick pictures with Craig setting him up and my wife helping set feet. And we've got a system down that he's pretty good at that. Holly's pretty good at getting the feet set. And I just take a bunch of pictures until I get a good one. But I'm telling you, I get frustrated even, and we've been working with each other for years. Those photographers have somebody new coming up and they somehow got to try to get a good picture of that and get that showman to get it stuck right. Good luck with all of that and get everybody looking the right direction.
And like I said, this is not the topic, but I do want to touch on this. All of you people that stand in front of the official photographer with your cell phones taking a picture, I want to hit you. I want to hit you. At least let the official photographer with, the $10,000 camera do their work first before you start doing all that other nonsense.
And some of the photographers will have paid for the right to be there, and they do not want you. You're not allowed to take pictures. So,
and they do it anyway.
Yes, and some shows I'm sure you're allowed to, but respect whatever it is.
It is just, if you could at least just act like a human being and let the official photographer, as Dale said, in many instances has paid to be there to take these photos. And then you and your 45 buddies and your cell phone cameras get after it. At least you could do that, but you can't. But
and if not paid, at least put money and investment into that backdrop and setting it all up. And there's little thought put into that, I think, sometimes from those that are jumping in front of the photographers to take pictures. And I don't see it maybe as much as you do, but obviously it happens.
And so I just want to say to all the livestock photographers, I appreciate you. I don't understand how you do what you do. And to all you people that go and screenshot their work, and it is more like art, and just post it all over social media, I think you should all be hung or shot in the kneecap or whatever. If you can't buy the damn photo, don't screenshot it and put it on your freaking Facebook.
With the logo still on there. I'm fearful.
Yeah, and the watermark. Yeah.
I'm fearful with AI that those logos or watermarks are going to come off very easily. So then I don't know what direction the photographers go to stop it.
Drives.
When you can't even stop it when they put it up there with the watermark on, it's going to get a lot worse when it's easy to pull that off.
Drives me insane. But anyway, that is not the topic, but I did have to hit on that.
Get us back on path, please.
I did have to say. So I think even before AI, we have gotten to a point in this industry that the editing, the photoshopping, all this other stuff, it is completely and totally out of control. And it is insane. And I don't understand, and maybe Dale can enlighten me, because I don't understand what good it does. Because as I was just talking to Clifton when Dale was having pop-up Tetris, difficulties, I talked to lots of people that judge shows and friends with a lot of them. And so I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and this one exhibitor or family group, whatever, got pretty pissed at him because they didn't win the show. And, their friends or whatever, they didn't win the show. And so he's like, and he said, you know what, Ryan? If their animals had looked like all that shit that they put on Snapchat or Facebook or whatever, if they would have looked like that when they came to the ring, they probably would have won. But that's not what the animals looked like. And I was like, I get it. And so, I mean, I don't see how this benefits anybody.
Well, I think let's, and I don't know the family you're talking about, nor the judge, nor do we even need to.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying, but this is not the first time that has.
No, but from that family's perspective, do you not assume by putting pictures up on social media that they won this show or a ring shot or whatever, and enhancing photoshopping? And I think we're just on the edge of the AI, and it's going to make it even worse yet. Obviously, the editing has been going on for many, many years. Don't you think that by them putting that out there from a benefit to the family doing it, that if you have a young judge or somebody that's not real confident, that perception maybe becomes a little stronger? And even though they don't look exactly like that in the ring, they run with it?
I mean, yes, I can get that, but the thing that bothers me the most, I'll be honest with you, is all backdrop photos get edited to some point. I mean, I understand that, but the newest trend, and Dale, who does not follow trends on social media, but the newest trend is like the week before you go to a show, you put your animal up there on Facebook and say, "Oh, we can't wait to take Betty to whatever," and there's the picture of the animal and the kid. And these things have been, it's not a backdrop photo. It's just them holding it or whatever, all this other stuff, and they're edited to whatever. And when the animal
Right.
comes to the ring, it doesn't look anything like it.
No, and I think that's been going on for a while, but maybe much more now than the past, I
Oh,
assume.
it's every show.
See, my feed is all aliens and yeah.
And Michelle Obama being a man.
And yes, you don't believe that, do you?
I
When I question it now, I have a question in the back of my mind, and I get a lot of self-guided African safari.
Right.
So I don't get those kind of.
But and it's all species, and I'm not. I personally do not do that game. I don't put the animal up and be like, "Oh, we're going to the state fair with Chucky. We're so excited." I don't do that. I don't think it's a smart idea. But I'm in the minority, and everybody does it. But the images are so photoshopped that the animal don't look anything like that animal. And so I get it why the judge is like, yeah, well, if they would have looked like that, then maybe. But in the same thing with backdrop photos. But I I mean, I understand why they're doing it. I understand why people put photos up after they win, even though that they have been edited most times by the official photographer. I because you want it out there, that you want to show, so potential judges see that this one's won, and maybe if they're judging again, I understand that concept. I get it. I just think that when we go so far in editing photos, and like I know people that will buy the picture from the photographer and then they will edit it way, 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 way more. And eventually it's not even a close to an accurate representation of the animal. How does this help is what I'm asking.
Dude, I have a question that relates to this. So the pictures you receive prior to a show and those trying to politically influence you, are those always edited in great pictures, or just here's the child and here's the animal? I don't care what it looks like, just use them.
More times than not, it's probably about 60-40 that they've put some effort into, making the animal look good. And then other times it's just like, here's my kid.
Hello, here you go. Here's the one.
But and again, I just don't understand any of it. Because when it doesn't look like the animal, and you can even edit videos now and stuff like that. I think it takes way more skill and all this other stuff, but I think this ends up shooting yourself in the foot.
So speaking of editing the videos, and I've been aware that it has been being done at least of the past 5 years, and I'm assuming it's getting easier and easier to do. But there was a time that if I was looking at a video, I took it as real, 100% real.
Yes.
And I've got to be very cautious on those things. And I'll talk more about this later. On our sale videos, we'll put a photo up, obviously, on our online sales, and then you can request a cell phone video. I intentionally use a cell phone for the perception that there isn't any editing done. And you know what? I haven't looked, but with the advancements in cell phone and AI, I'm not so sure that I could not edit them on my cell phone.
You could.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it the other way, but people are very good at it.
I'm telling you can, though. It's definitely possible.
I mean, we can put music in the background and things like that. But as far as
you can just edit it too.
Wow, you can change a top line or jerk your neck up.
Yeah.
So what I'm putting out there is failing as far as giving people confidence, but that takes me down another path. And Ryan's talking about how they're putting him up, promoting him. I'm going to look at it from a sale perspective a little bit. This is going to, and I'll let Ryan bring it in, but this is going to further push the fact that you need to build a relationship with that seller. and reach out and at least communicate with them. And if they take you down a path that's not correct, then don't go back there. And I think with all of this coming into play, video editing, obviously the photo editing, all of those things, you have to have some trust, whether it's a breeder, broker, whoever the seller may be, and form some relationship that you can touch base with them and tell them, here's our goals. Which ones do you think are going to fit this window the best within a given budget? Without that, I don't know that you can trust a photo, and now I don't know that you can trust a video. Yeah, Ryan, please take us further.
Well, and doing it for promotion and one thing is, there's that, but the bigger part of this, I think, is just what Dale's trying to bring in here. When you were selling show animals, and I doubt that there is 5% of the pictures that go up of show animals that are completely raw and unedited. Maybe 5% might be generous. I don't know. So everyone is going to expect to some degree that the photos have been touched up, have been edited, photoshopped, all this other stuff. I get it.
So I don't know if everybody's aware of that. I would think that they are, but
How
I don't
can
know.
they not be?
I understand. I'm just saying that if you came in new to the business, maybe not. But I'm with you. I'm going to say
And I'm not saying all of it goes too far. I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone goes too far with it. I do think there are way too many that go too far. And as Dale was saying, if you don't know who you're buying from and never have contact with them or never do any of this, then you don't know if you're really buying an animal that looks like that, or when you get Sassy home, she, is going to have 3 legs and a horn growing out of her head. I mean, it could be that bad. And so, I have very large trust issues. As if you've listened to this podcast, you might know that's why I do not participate in online sales or anything like that. I am going to go see the animal. I mean, you can send me a video and you can send me a picture, and maybe that will tweak me to, getting in the car or getting in the plane and getting there and looking at it. But I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I don't trust none of y'all that much. I'm going to go look at it myself with my own.
No, and that is ideal. But I'm going to estimate that 90% of the animals that are bought, probably higher online, people are not looking at themselves in person. Maybe somebody else was there they knew, or so forth. And I think in today's society and the way we're so limited on time, that the beauty of the online sales, and we have a question and answer today that touches on this, that you are able to look at animals across the nation and far more than what you could ever just drive and look at. I think use that as a tool. And if you can get there to go see them in person after you've narrowed, that is great. Some don't have the time to do that either. Then you have to rely on that relationship with the seller, broker, breeder, whoever that may be. But I think so many are tied up on time restraints. They're not able to go look that much. Last year, Ryan, when we were searching for a steer, I mean, we didn't go to that many places. I mean, we went to several, but that took days and days out of our schedule that other things weren't getting done. And we were simply searching for a steer for the most part.
Yeah, but you also just weren't going to buy it off a video or a picture.
No, we were not. No,
okay.
Agreed completely. But it did make it difficult within our businesses for me or Craig or my wife to be gone to go do those things. I'm sure we sacrificed way more financially by being gone than we'd ever get the reward on financially. But that's
maybe my trust issues are way more than everybody else's, and they probably shouldn't be, because I think that I would have an advantage in this because I know more of the people that are out there selling stuff than the average person that's just gonna, hook into SC or whatever sales company and start looking at sales. I mean, I know these people. I've met them.
You would assume they would want to be more honest with you than not.
Right. I know their reputations, all this other stuff. So I think I have a built-in advantage, and I still don't trust you enough to just do it. And so I can't imagine just someone who just goes on an online sale website and doesn't know, for the most part, anybody that or ever met these people or know their backgrounds or whatever, and just blind faith finding one on there and go, you know what, I'm going to buy that. I, I I could not do it. I could not. I don't
I
know how
think,
they do it,
and there
I
are
know, and I know they do. And I'm
there are
not talking bad about you people. I'm not. I am not built that way. Is what I'm saying.
And I can think of success stories. I went on one of Cobb's early pig sales years ago, and I found a very reasonably priced barrow that wins Illinois State Fair. So without calling, I'm not, maybe I called. I didn't get a lot of information. I bought it off basically a picture. I don't even think there was a video at that time. So it does happen, but I'm going to tell you, without reaching out to that seller in some manner and having some faith in that seller, your odds are not as good as they should be. Reach out. Do everything you possibly can. If you can get there and look at them, that's even better yet.
But to further this point, besides my trust issues, I know there are success stories, and there's lots of them. I also know there are horror stories, and
More
I mean,
of those.
I might be being a little over dramatic with the 3 legs and a unicorn horn growing out of its forehead, but I do know people that have shown me a picture of the animal that they supposedly bought, and then shown me the picture or the animal that they got. And some of these things, I just couldn't believe it. And my point on this is I know that everybody has to do everything they can to market their animals to get the most money and all this other stuff. But when we take it so far that the animal's not even recognizable, and the family gets this animal home and it doesn't work out, and you don't give them their money back or say, we'll try to do something else or all this other stuff, that doesn't look good on you.
Would you assume that seller just doesn't go back? That should be the pain that
Right.
the buyer, I should say, doesn't go back. That should be the pain the seller feels, is in the future you've lost a client.
But also then they're going to do just like what they've done, what the experiences I'm talking about. They're going to show it to everybody that they say and say, don't go buy from this person because this is what I was supposedly buying and this is what I got. So how does this help you? Yes, you've lost a customer, but you're losing a potential 20 customers because that person's going to go tell everybody.
I think the buying base is so large and so many new ones coming in. Unfortunately, some can get away with it more than you would think. That's the only. Otherwise there would be a much higher turnover of those selling animals that are not represented properly.
And I don't get why they think that it's okay to do that or whatever, or how they sleep at night and all this other stuff. I don't. And I know that it happens, but I guess my point in this deal is for the betterment of everybody, for the betterment of you and your, livestock company or ranch or whatever, all this stuff, for the betterment of the people that are buying from you. Why can we just not tone it back just a little? And just, I'm not saying that they have to be raw and edited, whatever, but like, people, come on now. You know when you take it too far. You do. And it does not faze many people, but it does faze me. And this has bothered me for a while, and I don't know why we haven't talked about it before, but I I think that you're doing a disservice to yourself, to every potential customer that you have, and to the industry as a whole when we take this as far as we do in a lot of cases.
I would agree. And there is one caution that I want to be careful of. I get to meet a lot of haulers and put animals on many trailers that go across the country. And when I'm moving those animals from my trailer to theirs, I will look at the animals on the trailer and may recognize some from certain sales across species. And remember, when they're hauled a distance, they're probably not going to come in perfect. Give them a few days to rehydrate, get some feed in them, get them feeling 100% because they're completely out of their element. So don't necessarily expect it to look like that video or that picture day one, but hopefully within a week they start to come closer to resembling such. And Ryan, I know that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about
That's not what I'm talking about. But
outrageous abuse. But
I think
that
you
does
make
happen as well.
Very valid point though on that. I do. I think that I know everyone's expectation when they're waiting to get the new animal that they just purchased is like waiting to open the Christmas present. And so you're all whatever, and they're not going to come off the trailer looking 100%. And so I think that is a very good piece of advice that you just gave there. And I think everybody should heed that because they are going to need a couple of days and all this other stuff. But like, I just think that far too many times there is a gross, negligent amount of editing going on in people trying to sell stock via what their actual animal that they're trying to sell looks like. And it just
agreed completely. So back to your trending issue on people posting that they're taking Ruby or Susie to the next show.
Yeah.
Are you seeing several?
Me out.
You are seeing several of these a day?
Oh God, yes.
I have not seen one. I see one a week, maybe.
And I'm not saying they do it for every show, but like before the big ones. Oh yeah. And
across species, I assume.
Yeah, and it wears me out because, and I mean, I'm not going to use names or anything like this, but like some of those people, I have judged their animals, or I know them, and I have seen their animals at shows, and I'm like, yeah, that don't look like Ruby, but good for you, good job, nice job.
And it may work, and if it didn't work, would they continue to do it?
I
maybe, but I would assume not.
It just, the bottom line of all of this, no matter whatever reason you're doing it for, and I go back to when I've discussed this with other judges or whatever, when you put expectations out there, whether it's selling an animal or putting one up there on Facebook because you want a potential judge to see it, and then the reality is not close to the expectations, this is not going to work out for you. It's not. Not if whoever's judging's got half a brain, or who the buyer is got half a brain.
I think
not going to work.
They're relying on the judges not evaluating themselves, being fooled by perception. Many factors come in, but I agree with you completely. It should not work out at all. Unless that animal is very well represented. I mean, looks the same. Then
I mean, if the animal looks exactly or very close to whatever, and is a great, then yeah. But this is like when people want to send me pictures or stuff before that. You should not want to give me more than one chance to tear your animal apart. Okay, I'm just being real honest. Like I'm pretty good at it by now. I've done it a lot.
Just like if we have the same judge at a larger show judging showmanship prior to the show,
you don't need to send yours in there.
No, not unless unless showmanship is a higher priority than the market show, which you and I, Ryan, that doesn't register well with us sometimes. And I love showmanship, but I think it does with some people, which is fine.
And I don't think that I'm the only person out there that you don't need to give me multiple opportunities to look at your animal and break them apart. It won't work out well for you. And so,
and a lot of times they won't full fit for showmanship. And if they do full fit, and then the show is later in the day or the next day, you've taken away from what that animal can look like by fitting just prior, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. And so that's the thing when they put all these pictures up and they don't look anything like the animal. First off, they're putting that picture out there and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then the animal comes in, and at least on, when they're putting the photos up of, before the shows, and it's just standing out there in a pasture or in a pen or whatever, they're not moving around. But you look at this animal and you think, man, that one looks, the angles look good and on whatever, and then it comes in and it's limping. I mean, like I just whatever. Oh my! And you're laughing.
It's entertaining. It is entertaining. I am not exposed to as much of it as you, but I have no question it's there, and you're guiding us in
I mean,
a real
this
direction.
animal looks to be great structured, all this stuff in a still photo, and then it walks in the ring and it's like hocks are clicking and starting fire and limping off its front. I'm like, Jesus Christ, people.
So I will play with between now and when this drops Friday with AI to see if I can't create an image of a show animal that wasn't even started from a photo, just from nothing, to see what we can get to.
But I mean, this is going to be, I'm beating a dead horse here, but just in conclusion on this, whatever your motivation is, whether it's selling, promoting, whatever, all this other stuff, I have no problem with you people doing a little hocus pocus to make your things look better. But I just want to tell you that there are more of us out there than you know that talk about this, discuss it, and realize that too many people are going too far with this, and it may not bite you in the ass every single time, but I promise you, I think you would be much better off if the representation of your animals that you put out there in terms of pictures and videos were closer to the actual thing than the opposite. I think it will do you a much better service no matter what your motivation in putting this stuff out there is. Honesty is normally the best policy. Period.
So in summary, just keep it in check. Don't get stupid about it. And I think it's going to be more and more difficult to tell. Other than if you're not ever seeing that animal, it's going to be more difficult to tell if it has been adjusted or has not been adjusted. But obviously, if you're going to see the animal, especially if it's coming to a damn show that you're judging, you're gonna notice a difference. Period. Very, very simple.
Yes.
Well, that was good. Are you ready for your favorite part? And we have a question that ties right into this. I pulled off today. I would like to introduce Round Barn Promotions. This is a sister company to Interglobe Sire Service right here in East Central Illinois. Round Barn Promotions can help you with awards, stall banners, hats, jackets, and much more. One-stop shop for gear and anything related to the stock show industry. Reach out to Round Barn Promotions today. You can find them on Facebook or call 815-844-3733. Thank you, Round Barn Promotions, for your support of the junior stock show world. The first one comes from Amanda. I would like to know what you think about parents being more hands-on than the kids. For example, the kids no longer do the work, shearing, washing, stall cleanouts, feeding, watering. You always see the parents doing the work. Ryan, I remember coming down to your place and Cherie was doing all the stall cleanouts. She was doing the rinsing. She was doing most of it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So we've talked about this on here a lot, and I'm gonna go over this again. I am not saying that there are not examples of this in the livestock world. I'm also going to tell you from a judge's standpoint that there is no criteria for who works the hardest. When you evaluate animals, there is not that, or who did the work on the animal, I guess is what I should say. Obviously, if you work hard, it shows in your animal, but who did the work? And most importantly, and I'm not trying to offend this person, you don't know what goes on in somebody's barn. You do not. You don't have cameras. You don't have a drone. You don't have a live feed. You don't know what goes on in somebody's barn. I'm telling you, as a kid, everyone thought that I did absolutely nothing except show up at the show and grab the halter and go in. No one lived in the barn more than I did.
Should we ask Cherie if she did as much at home as you? She would probably confirm that she did.
Right. Yeah. She would be lying. I am telling the truth. And I can back this up by anybody that's ever worked for me. Most of them who do not like me anymore will still tell you that I lived in the barn. So you don't actually know who is doing the work and who is not. And so I get bothered with these type of questions. I think that from a judge's standpoint, I think the only thing that you can do is judge the animal that comes before you, regardless of who has done the work. There are times that I think you can tell that the exhibitor and the animal do not know each other, if that makes sense. And when that happens, does a red flag go off in my head going, I don't think this steer's seen this kid more than twice in its life. And so, yeah, that doesn't put a good positive connotation in my head, but
And
you still just
and subconsciously it may impact
right.
things,
And
but you're trying to overlook it.
right. And so, but you don't know who does the work in that barn. And so those type of questions, because I hear it, I hear this all the time. And the other thing I hear is no one works harder than my kid. And do you know that every other parent in America thinks the same about their child? And y'all all deserve to. You all do, because I'm sure all of your kids work exceptionally hard. But
I've had to boot mine square in the ass on occasion.
I'm just saying, I'm sure all these people that are listening, kids work very hard. But you can't tell me that yours is the hardest working, and you can't tell me that that one doesn't do any work unless you have a live feed in their barn and see who does it. And in the end, it doesn't matter who does the work because there is no scorecard for if little Johnny put the effort into his show pig or his daddy did.
It is interesting. I'm going to go back to county fair mentality on this one. I think you find more of this at the county fair when you're at the backdrop and listening and people approaching you afterwards about that kid doesn't do any work or this one does way more work. It's way more personal.
They love to tell you when they're reserved how the people that beat them for grand, the child never does any work.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
And it may be true. I do not know that it's not, but I don't know that it is.
And I don't think they do either because they don't have a live feed into their barn.
We can make assumptions sometimes, but you are correct.
And like I said, there have been multiple times when I have watched an animal and exhibit in a ring, and I'm like, I don't think this kid's ever seen this animal before. I'll admit it. I've seen it. That still doesn't mean it's not showmanship. We're out there judging the show. The animal's still got to be placed where the animal has to be placed. So
I think the disconnect is there's an assumption that the judge is trying to read and gets a stronger read of how much effort those kids have put in that they have no idea about, and that should influence their placing of the show in general. I think there are people out there that wish that would be happening. If that
I have said on here 1,000,000 times that if it is close, I am always going to lead towards the better showman. If it's close, if it can go either way, I am always going to lean to the better showman or the better fit one. Or,
under the assumption they put more effort out.
If they're a better showman, they're a better showman. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care who put the effort, but if one kid shows better than the other, and it can go either way, I'm telling you where I'm going. It is not hard to figure out, and so I understand that. I respect that people think that it needs to be more that way and all this stuff. The bottom line is, if you're actually a judge and you're doing your job, you're judging the animals and not the exhibitors. Period. But
agreed, not always easily done.
It is not easily done, and we were the first people to ever talk about subconscious sorting and the things that go through your mind and all this other stuff that nobody wants to hear. So all of that does play in, but in the end of it, you're out there to judge the animals, not the exhibitors, unless you're judging showmanship.
Agreed. Amanda, hopefully that answers the question. It was a fairly long answer, but good. Jonathan, and this one ties into our topic today very well, so I think we've already somewhat answered it. When I am searching for pigs online, I appreciate the fact I have options from all over the country and delivery to near my home. However, I have had huge variation in results from many purchases, with some coming in better than I anticipated, others not so good. I assume this is common for most buyers. I try to evaluate the photos and videos as best possible, but still have issues. Suggestions on how to get my results for success a bit higher.
go see the animal in person.
Yeah.
Other than that, but
yeah,
no, I'm gonna piggyback off what he said. I think the thing that he needs to do is he says that he had some that came in better and some that came in worse. Well, the person that I was pleased with, that the animal came in better, I would go back there, and the ones that were worse, I would not go back there.
that will increase your odds. Period. It's going to, and I think that basically shows that you have a vote and where you're going to go, and your vote is by who you buy from. And Jonathan, if you can go and look at them, that is going to help even more yet. And if you cannot, at least reach out and build the rapport, maybe with that seller that you had a good experience from, just blindly picking one, reach out and see if you can't build a rapport and get some guidance from them. And if they treat you well, then you stay there and your success rate goes up. If they don't, find somebody else.
Yeah, I think Dale has said this repeatedly on here, and I think if you can establish some type of connection with a seller, it may not be face to face in person, but either over the phone or something like that, where you get a rapport or there are some warm fuzzies between each other, then that seller is naturally going to want to guide you and help you more than somebody that he only knows that their better number is 127, whatever, yada, 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 on and watching a bid. And so I, I I think that is important to try to do. And yeah, maybe you can't get there in person, but you can pick up the phone and call and whatever. And I think those are important things. And I say all the time, people ask me, well, why does so and so always get the best ones from XYZ? I'm like, well, because they've been buying there a long damn time and they like each other and it's a good fit. They win. So yeah, they're probably going to get first pick out of there. And so that is part of it, whether it's on online sales or not. Having that connection is very, very important.
And I think it's just human nature. If you're just a buyer number, that seller's not going to have a connection with you. If you've reached out via text or called them or made a connection in some sort, you would think human nature is going to push them to try to help you more. And I don't know how else to put it, but I would sure think
right.
that is it. Okay, the final question comes from Anne. I love the podcast and appreciate all you do. It is my goal to get to meet both of you at some point, maybe even a selfie if allowed. I purchased show stock for all my grandkids that are interested. Their parents do not have as much knowledge in the stock show world to manage as well as needed to succeed at the state fair level. Suggestions on where I can reach out to get more guidance to better help my grandkids succeed. We've had a lot of variations of this in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know where to begin on this one because, like I said,
it's a lot. And I appreciate, Ann. I appreciate that you're supporting those grandkids and allowing them to get into the show ring arena. To me, and I don't know, I have no idea what species she's talking about or where she lives. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It makes it very difficult.
It makes it. I mean, if you have a breeder, a broker, a seller, whatever that may be, that you have a connection with, get guidance from them, get protocols from them. Ask them if there's somebody in their area they can recommend to maybe a college student or somebody that's aged out that they know well that can come over and maybe help out, or you can hire to come and help teach showmanship or check on them in terms of where they're at in their feeding program. There's lots of directions, but I guess for you, Ann, that the place to start is whoever you're buying those from is probably, or I hope, if they're receptive, they can give you some guidance to somebody that might be in your area if they are not, or if they don't have time, that can guide you depending on the direction that you want to go and depending on the species you're in and so forth.
No, I think that's very wise advice. Talk to whoever you're buying them from. And then I think one of the things that not get utilized enough, and it all depends on your location, but there are a ton of college kids that want to stay involved, want to stay active, all this other stuff, that need to make extra money. and are more than willing to help. And like I said, I don't know how far the nearest agriculture college is from you, but that is one avenue that I think gets utilized a lot, but maybe not enough, because they're fresh at it, they're young, they're hungry, they want to stay involved, all this, and also they are closer to age to the showman than what other people are, so they can probably connect with them on an easier level. And so that's something that I have always thought is a very good way to go about things, is trying to get some of those college kids to help people.
Nope, I think that's a great resource for all those reasons. And just stop and think of it from a practical standpoint. If you reach out to whoever you purchase that animal from, you both have a mutual vested interest in that animal succeeding. So they're going to want to point you in direction to others that can assist in whatever you're needing that assistance in. It's in their best interest. If they choose not to, I dang sure wouldn't go back there and buy again.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, Ryan, this was good. Hopefully our government shutdown works itself out. The only solution I see is the nuclear option, which doesn't seem that nuclear to me. But until next week, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?